What's going on, everybody? It's the Home Theater Hobbyist here, and today we have our full review of the Monoprice SSW-10 subwoofer. So let's get to it. Before we get too far into this video, if you enjoy this type of content, please click that subscribe button and that notification bell so you can be alerted anytime we upload new content. So here it is, the Monoprice SSW-10 subwoofer. And this is a part of Monoprice's SSW lineup of subwoofers. Now, I suspect that SSW stands for Slim Subwoofer because they all have the same basic shape and profile, which is actually pretty slim and is meant to be hidden away. So you could have a subwoofer under a chair, maybe under a bed or under a piece of furniture, so you can kind of hide it away and still get pretty good bass. Now, the lineup includes 3 different subwoofers. At the bottom end, you've got the SSW-8, which is an 8-inch woofer with a 100-watt power supply and a frequency response from 30 hertz all the way to 150 hertz. It retails for about $109. At the top end of the line, you have the SSW-12, which is a 12-inch subwoofer with a 150-watt power supply and a frequency response from 20 hertz to 150 hertz. It retails for about $199. And right smack in the middle, you have the SSW-10. It's got a 10-inch woofer with a 150-watt power supply, a frequency response from 25 hertz to 150 hertz, and it retails for about $160. Now, this subwoofer is about 25 inches long, just under 16 inches deep, and about 7 inches tall. So you will need relatively tall furniture to slide it under. You'll need at least, I'd say, 7.5 inches of clearance to slide this under a piece of furniture. Okay, so now let's talk about the front of the subwoofer. It has basically everything you need with the exception of the port right here. And as you can see, on each corner, you've got your feet. So if you just want to set this directly on the ground, you can set it down on the feet. These feet do have holes in them, so you can unscrew these and take them out if you want to. You've also got these mounting brackets here because they come with these little arms. They come with 2 of these that you can use. Just slide them in like that. And this can be mounted to a wall. If you really want to mount it to a wall, you would use that. And they also come with these little plastic feet that just slide onto the casing to allow you to stand it up like I have here. So that's all the ways that you can actually set this up in your room. But once you get it set up, you can see you've got the 10-inch woofer there, and you have the power supply here along with the heat sink there. Up top, you've got your speaker level connections, your line in or your line level connections here, and your line out if you wanted to connect another subwoofer next to that. And you also have your level or your volume or your gain right here, and your crossover setting next to that. Just next to that little red part that you can see there is the power indicator that allows you to know if it's on or not. It just turns red. And you've got your on-off switch down here, and an auto on or an on switch here, and the fuse here, and a power cord that comes out down there. Now let's talk about connecting this into your system. If you have a preamplifier or an AV receiver, you can use the line level cables here. Now, if you have speaker level, you can use that here, but I honestly try to go line level if you can, because speaker level is kind of antiquated. But anyways, line level, they actually give you this line level RCA cable in the package, in the box, and you just plug in the white here and the red there. And then inside your preamplifier, if you have red and white, you'd also plug the red in with the red and the white in with the white on the other end. But if you don't have that and you just have an AV receiver along with a subwoofer cable, you can use a single subwoofer cable like I have here, and you just plug that into the left level or lining connection there. Per the manual, they say plug it into the left side versus the right side down here. I found that either one works, but per the manual, they say left side, so plug it into the white left one and you should be good to go. So let's talk about the side of the subwoofer. As you can see here, you've got the port on the right hand side up here at the top, and it is a rectangular port. This allows the air to exit out as the woofer moves in and out. In the side there, you've got this little wooden brace that helps sturdy up the cabinet, but otherwise that's all you have down the right hand side, and there is nothing on the left hand side. It's just case. Now let's talk about the back of this casing. And as you can see, it's painted black just like the rest of the cabinet all the way around, and it doesn't have anything back there. No emblems, no Monoprice logo, nothing. I mean, it is pretty bland. Now mind you, if this is under your couch or under a bed or something, you're not gonna see it, so who really cares? But I mean, there's nothing back there. I mean, it looks good. I mean, they've done a good job painting it, but otherwise there's nothing there. Now, I will say if it's under your bed or under a couch or something like that, it might pick up a little bit of dust, but the surface is pretty smooth, so you should be able to dust it off or vacuum it off pretty easily. But quite frankly, it's pretty clean back there. Okay, so we've talked enough about the speaker. Let's go ahead, let's move on. Let's do a couple of audio samples so you can hear how this sounds. Hopefully you enjoyed those audio samples. Now we're going to rank the subwoofer in a few different categories from 1 to 5, 1 being the absolute worst and 5 being the absolute best. The first category I want to start with is design, and I have to give this a 4 out of 5. Monoprice is making something that not a lot of subwoofer companies are making, and that is something that you can slide under your couch and get bass, and I have to give them the props for that. I mean, you do need clearance. I'd say 7.5 inches of clearance because this is 7 inches from the floor to the top of this box. So you will need a higher chair, right? I've got one chair in my house that this could slide under. Couldn't even get it under my bed. But the fact that you can do it is pretty cool. I also like the way this looks on this front end because you can see the woofer is moving in and out. Now, to get it to move in and out, you need to turn the levels up pretty high, but you can see it moving in and out, and you also can see the power supply and stuff like that. And I think that looks kind of cool. But I did have it sitting next to my television, and I could see the side and the back here, and it was pretty boring. So from that standpoint, it didn't look all that good. But if you're looking at the business end, or the fact that you can slide it under the couch, is really cool, and I have to give this a 4 out of 5. Now the next category I'm going to rank is sound quality, and I give this a 3 out of 5. This does play bass, and it sounds pretty good, but it's not the best bass I've heard. One of the first things I noticed was that the woofer doesn't start and stop very quickly, so bass notes hang just for a little bit longer than you really want them to when watching. It's not terrible, but they do hang a little bit. So that's one place I got to dock it. And it also doesn't play as deep as I'd like it to play. If it could play a little bit deeper, I think it would be better. It will play down to 25 hertz, but honestly, I'd want it to play a little bit deeper. And with that, also have a little bit more power, a little bit more output, because when you're listening to this, you don't really feel the bass. There's been different times when I've played subwoofers in this room, and you can feel it pressurizing the room, even 10-inch subwoofers, and this doesn't do that. And I think it's just due to the power supply is a little bit low, and you'd want a little bit more out of this. So from a sound quality standpoint, it does play bass, but it's not the best bass in the world. Now, I did put it under a chair and just tried it under a chair, and I enjoyed watching the movie. I watched Thor Ragnarok, and I mean, it was fun to watch. You could definitely hear bass, and it played bass, but it's not the best bass in the world. And for that reason, I have to give it a 3 out of 5. The final category I'm going to rank is value, and I have to give this a 4.5 out of 5. The entire line of 3 subwoofers is in between $100 and $200. That is great value, especially when you consider the design that you get. It is pretty simple, pretty basic, but it can play bass, and that is cool. It's not the best bass, but it does play it. So I have to give this a 4.5 out of 5 for price versus design. So overall, I think this is a pretty cool concept. I do like the concept of this. Being able to slide a subwoofer under a chair, under a bed, or something like that is really cool. But where I think it lacks is in the sound quality just a little bit. It holds the notes a little bit too long, and I wish it were a little bit deeper. Now, if you're thinking about should I get this or the Monolith 10, RSL Speedwoofer 10S, SVS PB1000, well, all 3 of those subwoofers that I mentioned are better than this. So if you're thinking, which one should I get, definitely go for one of those. They sound better than this sounds. This isn't bad, and I mean, it's definitely priced very, very well, but those do sound better. But if you just kind of want something that you want to be able to slide under the couch, put it under the bed, give you just a little bit of extra bump, when you're watching something, then this is actually kind of cool. And I kind of like it for that. If I could slide it under my own bed, I probably would. But otherwise, this is a pretty good subwoofer, especially for the price, but it's not a great subwoofer. And so I'm going to say, if you want to buy this, make sure you have place for it. But if you really want a good subwoofer, look at the Monolith 10, the SVS PB1000, or even the RSL Speedwoofer 10S. Those are all great choices. Well, thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. We'll talk to you next time.